Nearly 3,000 flags put around Occidental College's campus for a 9/11 memorial were trashed and destroyed. The Occidental College Republican Club wrote on Facebook that early Sunday morning the memorial was vandalized. Flags were found in the garbage, others were outright destroyed, and posters were put up shaming the victims of the September 11th attacks. The students from the club fished the flags out of the trash and put them back on the quad, and the group also then stood guard for the rest of the day to protect the memorial. College officials say they don't know who's responsible, but they are investigating and will take appropriate disciplinary action.
These images are what Hillary Clinton's campaign tried to block reporters from seeing. But bystander video released Sunday on social media captured the Democratic presidential nominee struggling to stand on her own, later stumbling into her vehicle. On Monday, Americans woke up to news coverage of Clinton's pneumonia diagnosis. They discovered her campaign had covered it up for 2 days.
Really into electing Hillary Clinton. Like this is not me going through the motions here. I really want to elect Hillary Clinton.
Arkansas will get its first look tomorrow at two proposals for new monuments outside the state capitol.
But these monuments fall on opposite ends of the spectrum. One is a statue of the Ten Commandments. The other is a monument from the Satanic Temple.
Our Grant Sloan joins us now live from our Branson Bureau tonight with this story. Grant.
Well, David and Jennifer, the two proposals stem from a bill passed by Arkansas lawmakers last year that would allow the Ten Commandments to be built on grounds there at the state capitol. Well, the Satanic Temple says its proposal for a statue should be allowed also, and it wants to sit right next to, within 20 feet of the Ten Commandments. The Satanic Temple's proposed statue for the Capitol lawn is expected to look something like this, called Baphomet. The group says the half-man, half-animal symbolizes the reconciliation of opposites, in this case, opposing religious views. As for the Ten Commandments, it's unknown what the monument might look like, but it's expected to weigh around 6,000 pounds, stand 6 feet tall, and be paid for by private donations. While seemingly the latest chapter in the battle over separation of church and state, most residents we spoke with in Harrison say they're not on board with the Satanic Temple's proposal.
It's debatable. I mean, everybody's got their choice, but I mean, if you can't go by the Ten Commandments, something wrong with you.
We are a godly nation. We are based upon Christianity. I think the Ten Commandments should be on there.
The sponsor of the bill to allow the Ten Commandments at the Capitol says the monument would signify the foundation of law in the country. But the Satanic Temple says only allowing the Christian display would give the appearance of the government endorsing a particular religion.
It's America. We have freedom of speech. We've fought for that, and I think that it's important that everyone is allowed to say what they think.
I'm all for the Ten Commandments, anywhere and everywhere. And you start putting other monuments up, where does it stop?
The buck may stop with the Arkansas Secretary of State, who's scheduled to review both proposals tomorrow. But, as has been the case in other states, the final decision could play out in the courtroom.
A government board recommended that 45,000 wild horses and burros be killed to make room for cattle. The Bureau of Land Management, known as the BLM, voted to euthanize those animals in all government-run holding facilities in the U.S. Exactly when the horses would be killed, that's not been decided yet. But animal rights advocates are outraged by the decision. In a statement, the U.S. Humane Society senior VP said, quote, "The decision of the BLM Advisory Board to recommend the destruction of 45,000 wild horses currently in holding facilities is a complete abdication of responsibility for their care. The Humane Society of the U.S. stands ready to implement these alternatives at any time."
Another star-spangled scandal that started in the NFL is now hitting a local high school. A football player in Worcester is making headlines after he took a knee during the national anthem. The teen says he was told he'd be suspended, but tonight the school is defending itself. Fox 35's Chris Flanagan is live in Worcester, where a social media firestorm erupted over this. Chris?
Yeah, it certainly has. You know, this story has really taken off. Worcester Public Schools telling me they've received hundreds of emails over this controversy and even more phone calls, some from as far away as London. As Michael Opong made his way to practice today, social media was blowing up after this picture showing Michael, number 2, kneeling during the national anthem before Friday night's game.
I did it because I felt like black people all around are facing a lot of injustice and inequality, and this was actually something somebody of my age could actually do. so I decided to kneel during the national anthem.
Over the weekend, Michael sent out this tweet saying, quote, "My coaches and principals have decided to suspend me for one game."
I was called by the coach and told I would be suspended for the next game.
Worcester Public School Superintendent Maureen Benenda tells Fox 25 the coach did speak with Michael. She says it's a situation that surprised the coach and he wasn't sure how to handle it because it's the first time something like this has ever happened.
When the principal investigated and spoke to the coach today, he said he never said. He said that on Monday, be prepared that you may have a one-game suspension. But he didn't say you have a one-game suspension and you're not going to play.
This morning, after Michael and his mother met with school officials, he sent out this tweet. "Thanks to all your love and support, my suspension of one game has been terminated." And Michael told me he plans to kneel again before Doherty High's game Friday night, and he says some of his teammates may join him.
Do not be alarmed, but there is a monstrous asteroid catapulting through space that could spell doom for us all. NASA has placed the asteroid Bennu on their warning list as they believe the mountain-sized object could smash into Earth, triggering apocalyptic destruction.
Oh my God, run!
No, but they've launched a probe to hunt it down.
Oh, thank God. The probe is called the OSIRIS-REx, and the spacecraft is planning to spend 2 years catching up with the asteroid Bennu as it hurtles towards us. Now, there's only we should point out, there's a 1 in 2,700 chance that it'll hit us, and not for another 150 years. So that could be your great-grandkids' time. And still, we thought we'd better get the lowdown from an astrophysicist. Brad Tucker is in Canberra for us. Good morning to you.
How's it going?
Great to have you here, Brad. Now, just tell us about Bennu first. What sort of size is it? What sort of damage would it do if it indeed did impact on Earth?
Well, it depends where it hits, right? If it hits Canberra, sometimes we could debate what damage is done. It's a mere 60 billion kilograms, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually relatively small.
Right.
It's not going to destroy the Earth. It would just make us have a bad day. Like you said, it's a long time down the road, so it's not my problem.
Right. So would it destroy humanity in the way that other asteroids destroy the dinosaurs?
No. So this is not an asteroid or an Earth killer like the dinosaurs. It would just dampen our day. It would set us back a little bit.
Now, we are putting a lot of hope in this probe that's going up, the OSIRIS-REx. We believe that the plan is for it to high-five the asteroid.
That's right. So we think about landing things, but what it wants to do is go just near the surface, scan it for a couple years to figure out where's the best spot in terms of what it can learn, and then approach it to a mere centimeters away and grab a sample from it.
Wow.
Like a high five.
Right, and that sample, as I understand, will be used for a number of things. Can you talk us through what the major reasons for collecting asteroid dust might be?
So asteroids are pretty much the crumbs of the dinner table, with the dinner being the formation of our solar system.
Oh, yeah.
So you get a snapshot how it used to be, and there's a theory that, in fact, life on Earth came from an asteroid collision early on. So we get a glimpse at our origins and potentially can figure out where we came from, and then if we need to destroy one of these things, instead of shooting Bruce Willis at it, how we actually destroy it.
Do you think that we're close to being able to work that out, if Bruce isn't available?
To push an asteroid off Earth?
Yes.
Yeah, we are getting close, and in fact there's plans to capture asteroids, put it in orbit, and then mine it, because you get a lot of special things in it. And that's not actually far-fetched. This is something we're talking about in a mere decade or two.
Right.
A volcano on La Réunion in the Indian Ocean has erupted for the second time this year. Piton de la Fournaise, or Peak of the Furnace, is one of the most active volcanoes in the world, with more than 150 eruptions since the 17th century. The latest eruption, which began early on Sunday morning, is located in an uninhabited area of the island and presents no danger to the local population.
Taiwan is preparing for the strongest storm on Earth to head its way within the next 24 hours. We're talking about the very dangerous Super Typhoon Moranti. Wind gust over 200 miles per hour. This is a very dangerous storm. It's moving off to the west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. So it's a super typhoon and expected to maintain its strength really through the middle of the week.
The world's biggest nickel producer has admitted that one of its plants was responsible for a river in the Russian Arctic turning red. Norilsk Nickel says a filtration dam at the Nadezhda plant overflowed due to heavy rain. However, it claims there's no danger to people or wildlife. The company last week denied responsibility.
Dealing with fertility issues is traumatic at best. It's hard on the woman, it's hard on the man, and to live through it emotionally unscathed is a true victory. And that's why this story is just so hard to comprehend. Dr. Donald Klein, a fertility specialist, apparently admitted to using his own sperm to impregnate women for years. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office says 8 people have been found to be genetic siblings so far, and that number could be higher. And their parents had been seen by Klein in the 1970s and 1980s. Half of the proven siblings met with Klein to ask about if this was a coincidence. Turns out it was no coincidence at all. According to their complaint, Klein admitted to them he donated his own sperm around 50 times to women looking to be pregnant, including when she wanted a second child. Using his sperm again ensured that the children would be genetically matched. He denied using his own sperm to the Indiana Attorney General's office, and now he's charged with providing false statements.
Now to a developing story at 6:02. A case of incest out of Duncan now has mother and daughter behind bars. New this morning, we're learning more about this mother's controversial marriages. News 9's Chris Gilmore is live with the story. Chris?
Yeah, we're actually in front of the courthouse right now, Justin, where most legal unions are supposed to begin with a marriage license. But today, Patricia and Misty Spann are both in jail on allegations of an incestuous marriage. Now, Patricia is 43, her biological daughter, Misty, 25. Their relationship was discovered last month by investigators with the Department of Human Services, but this was not the first time. Patricia Spann married her son for 2 years, starting in 2008. Now relatives say the 25-year-old Misty was pressured into the relationship.
I think she's worthless. She put my sister into this. She forced my sister into this. And there's a lot of people that know it. And for you to want to put your own daughter through this, what kind of person are you? If that's what you want, that's on you. But none of us kids want that. And now you got my sister behind bars, possibly facing time in prison. These are your choices. Why don't you let that sit on you as a mom?
Patricia told investigators that she married her daughter only in hopes of adopting a child with her.
IMF's managing director will go on trial in mid-December in connection with a massive state payout to the business tycoon Bernard Tapie. Christine Lagarde approved that payment, roughly about $400 million, when she was France's finance minister. Consequently, she now faces charges of negligence. She has repeatedly stated that she is innocent, but if convicted, she does risk up to a year in prison and a fine of $16,850 if found guilty. Now, the case stems from a handling of a dispute with the businessman who claimed he was defrauded by a state bank in its sale of his stake in the sportswear giant Adidas. The business tycoon has paid about $445 million in compensation. Investigators, however, suspect that the arbitration process was rigged in his favor. The IMF, however, has continued to express its support for Madame Lagarde.